I'm replacing a few arborvitae green giant that dried out over the winter that were planted in the fall, and you can see that right behind me, with some Leyland cypress. Leyland cypress grows a little faster, could get 50 feet tall, 25 feet wide. So I have dug the hole already. I've done the hard work, not too deep, because things like Leyland cypress here do not like to be planted very deep. They have what is known as a root collar right here. So you want the soil level when you're done planting to be at the level that the container is in. In most cases, the plants are already planted at the right depth in the container. You do loosen a few of these lower roots because the roots tend to grow, and you want to kind of loosen them so they grow outward. If not, sometimes the plants think they're in a bathtub, especially something like this with clay, and the roots just grow around inward and can strangle the plants. So what I'm going to do, since this is heavy clay soil, I'm going to add a little organic matter. The organic matter can be compost, could be your own compost, or you can purchase it. Could even be a peat mix that is blended with other organic materials. So I'm going to take some of this mix, which is a high-end loose mix, and I'm going to put this on top of the soil I've removed, like this. And to mix this, it's really easy. I'm going to make another mountain. I call it a mountain. It's like a volcano, and what I find is that as you mix it, it mixes on its own. So I'm going to take this and make another pile, and you can see the soil and the compost are mixing together. And I usually do this 2 times, could be 3, depending on the soil you have. But this is heavy clay soil. I guess we call it good old Virginia red clay. I live in the Shenandoah Valley in between Stanton and Waynesboro, and my name is Mark Viet. And you know, I'm gonna add a little more here. Maybe a little more right here too, because it mixes as it rolls down the sides. The hole is about twice, 2.5 times the size of the root ball in diameter. They usually recommend 2 to 3 times the width of the container and 1.5 times the depth of the container. Not much deeper, because roots grow outward, not really downward. So I think I have enough here, so I'm going to take this and put a little in the bottom, because this hole was too deep. If it's really dry, I'm going to add a little water. Some of these organic mixes can be very dry, so you have to add a little water. Then I'm going to take my small tree, loosen the roots, because you can see some of the large roots right here, and they will grow continuously. And so what I'm going to do is come in here. Sometimes a knife works. If you find a really root-bound plant, I just find taking a saw and cutting the bottom inch will go a long way in loosening the root system. So there is my well, I notice that I need a little more, because remember, the soil underneath that I prepared may sink over time. So if I do anything, I'm going to plant them a little higher. There is a saying for things like dogwood trees and other plants, especially dogwoods, plant them high, never die. So that means you might plant them a little higher, because keeping in mind it might sink over time, which can be detrimental to a plant like a dogwood tree. So I'm going to come in here and fill around just like this. This gives you a good workout for the day, especially if you're sitting at a desk doing computer work. You can get out and plant your own plants like this. And when you're done, you're going to come around and firm this up a little bit. Sometimes a rake will help, but again, not putting too much soil on top of that root ball. If you have to stake this with a stake like this, you only want to stake it for about 3 months. You want the wind to naturally move your tree. It gives strength to the trunk, so you don't want to stake it forever. So here, and I'm going to do this about every week, so it doesn't dry out and look like this. So every week, fill a couple of these up, and you can water your trees, unless they get natural rainfall. If they get natural rainfall, 1.5 to 2 inches of natural rain, then you don't have to water. But if you don't have natural rainfall, you water it. And I'll tell you, in about 3 years, this thing is probably going to be 13 feet tall. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.